All right, so the Warriors lost to last year's number one seed in the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns, in Phoenix, a blowout. 134 to 105, the Warriors losing pretty badly, having a pretty horrible second half where, the third quarter, Phoenix really pulled away with the game, and then in the fourth, of course, them extending their lead even more. And for the Warriors, it was really their defense that struggled, and the refs weren't doing them any favors either, but I still think the defense is more to blame. The Warriors in the first half were not doing that badly. Poole was lighting up the game. Draymond Green even was having a pretty good game. And, of course, Stephen Curry, who was making 3 after 3. But then we go to the second half. There's miscommunications on defense. And the Warriors just ultimately really couldn't put a good second half together. Klay Thompson, for the first time in his career, got ejected. Him and Devin Booker had sort of an altercation. I honestly, when Klay got ejected, I thought it was pretty selfish, that he was trash talking so much, because not that he was trash talking, but he wasn't having a good game. Klay was like 1 of 8 shooting, 2 points. Like, come on, Klay has not been very effective, in big matchups like this, and I feel like that's been a problem. 134 to 105. I mean, that score is a big margin of victory for the Suns. It's a 29-point victory, but I feel like it doesn't tell the full story. The Warriors were good in the first half. They outplayed Phoenix in the second quarter, despite being down after the first quarter concluded. But yeah, I think it was frustrating, for the team seeing Klay Thompson get, ejected. And I think, for him, like I said, he wasn't having a very good game. And so, it wasn't the worst thing for him, but the team just really couldn't recover. And it's a shame because, in that first half, Jordan Poole, who came off the bench, had 17 points. He had a very, very good run in that second quarter, and the Warriors were looking decent going into halftime. But then, like I said, the defense had a lot of miscommunications. I found that there were a lot of wide open shots just being given to Phoenix, and not even sometimes their best players. Guys like Jock Landale, 17 points off the bench. I mean, a lot of those points were just bad defense, where they're leaving him wide open or, just playing out, miscommunicating. And so, yeah, not only, him, but Chris Paul had 16, and then, of course, a huge game from Devin Booker. He had 34 points. And, yeah, I think that was just sort of shows there the collapse the Warriors' defense it was tonight, and their defense is usually pretty good. And so, yeah, Curry, did pretty good in this game. I'd say he did a lot better in the first half than he did in the second. He went from 17 from the field. And, the Warriors had good individual games from players, but Klay, like I said, struggled 1 for 8, and he missed all 5 of his 3-point attempts. Klay's three ball has not been as good as it used to be. And so the Warriors are going to come back to San Francisco, play a tough home matchup against Miami, and so hopefully they can clean up the mistakes. But yeah, I think the chirpiness in this game, this was an intense matchup. I think, obviously I think for the Warriors, their probably biggest rivalry in terms of, competitiveness and intensity right now is the Memphis Grizzlies, but I'd say a close second would be the Suns. I feel like whenever we play them, it's a close game with, some clashing, I'll put it that way. But the Warriors started out this game slow, and they just really never found time to come back. Interesting takeaway was Moses Moody actually got some decent playing time coming off the bench, but one of the first players off the bench. He had 13 points. I'd like to see his progression. Obviously a first-round pick last year, and I've liked the guy as a player a lot, and so I'd like to see him more. And so, yeah, he was very effective in this game. He was the only Warrior with a positive plus-minus until the final few minutes of the game, and he also had 3 blocks. And I mean, for Moses Moody, a guy who's just an average-sized guard, having 3 blocks, pretty insane. Also, another thing with the Warriors, and this was a big issue last year, especially in the playoffs, missing free throws. And I know the refs were not kind to the Warriors in this game. The Phoenix Suns had 20-plus free throws as a team. The Warriors, I don't even think, had 10. But they were 6 of 9 on free throws at one point. I'm like, come on, you're only given so many attempts with your free throws. You got to be making those, especially Stephen Curry, right? And so that was sort of frustrating. Wiseman had 12 points. I liked Wiseman's play lately. I want to give him some more minutes if I'm Steve Kerr. But the Warriors bench, it hasn't been as effective as it was last year. And of course, losing guys like Bjelica, Gary Payton, Otto Porter is going to do that to your bench. And I feel like the Warriors had a great defensive unit with those guys last year. And I feel like our defensive unit right now is just not really doing it. Hopefully a guy like Wiseman can step up on defense. We need a big role from him. But until then, yeah, the Warriors lose badly, 134 to 105 to the Suns. So let me know your guys' thoughts. I'll see you guys later. And yeah, go Warriors.